Well, my world's is done here at the end of quarterfinals. We wrap things up. Of course, this coverage brought to you by Alienware. I'm back in the hotel room with my roommate, Wild Turtle. Wild Turtle, how's your world's been?
It's been pretty good so far. I mean, I'm enjoying Spain, getting to watch quarterfinals.
Yeah.
Spanish crowd's good.
You just got here a couple days ago. You got to dodge groups, right?
Yeah, Dodge groups. You know,
Well, so you are back. Okay, last year at this time, you interviewed me in Busan. I think right around the same time, quarterfinals ish, and we talked about why. Oh, the gap was closing. That was your big thesis, right? Yeah.
yes, yes.
And I think we thought that the gap was closing, and certainly G2 is in semifinals, and they made it to final, or they won, MSI. But I'll ask you the question from last year. Do you think the gap is closing?
Um, I think it's actually not too far still. I think obviously NA has its struggles. I think we were definitely, I wouldn't even say unlucky, but we were just kind of lacking a little bit in terms of skill. But I mean, you saw the Liquid in their group. They easily could have gotten out, and I think if they had gotten out, I think they could have potentially made it to the semifinals as well.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like hard to say, and I think it was honestly just I don't know, and
You don't want to say bad luck. I know you want to say bad luck, but I know you don't want to say it too.
you know,
And well, so I mean,
you get my feelings though, right? Yeah.
my concern though is that like if NA wants to think that it's good, it needs to be able to beat what was. I think that both those were third seed teams that were in their group. Damwon and IG were both the third seeds. Now, obviously, IG is looking a lot better, but it's like, how can we send our first seed into a group with like the third seed from LPL and LCK and knock it out, and then say like we're competitive internationally?
That's very true. Actually, I think just the whole region, like all the world teams from all the other regions, are actually like very, very good teams. And I think for us, it's kind of just like TL was definitely a lot better than most teams in NA this year, which obviously kind of sucks. But every other team in all the other regions were surprisingly really good. Like Damwon was really good, IG's really good, and essentially all their third and second seeds are really good. And for example, Splice and Fnatic, they're extremely really good teams as well. Yeah.
So I don't know, and I won't fault you if you didn't because I know the time zones were terrible. But did you watch all of the Clutch and Cloud9 games?
Not all of them, but I saw some of them. Yeah.
So this is an interesting conversation because there's been this rise of I don't know, conversation about Cloud9 and Clutch, and some people are saying that even though Clutch went 0-6, they looked better than Cloud9. And I'm kind of curious if that was your impression based off the games that you watched. I think especially in that second week.
Based off the games I watched, I think C9 just made some mistakes that made them look worse than they were. I still think C9 was a better team than Clutch, but I think Clutch just played better on those days, and C9 just made bigger mistakes. But I think if they were to play each other in North America, I think C9 would still be a better team.
No, I know because you just interviewed me moments ago that your investigation this year is about if it's like what is holding North America back and also what's helping EU excel, right? Mm-hmm. So I'm kind of curious on your point as a player that's been competing in the league for a very, very long time. What do you think is holding back LCS fans or LCS players?
LCS players, I think it's just. I really think even though we complain about NA solo queue being really bad and it's 60 ping all the time, and I understand like it's not the greatest to play, I still think every team, I think every LCS team should have their players be playing solo queue at least to make the region better as a whole, because I think our region, they don't really have good players to play against all the time, and because our good players are like reluctant to play solo queue, like they'll never get to learn from the best if our best players aren't even trying in solo queue. And I think that's kind of what brings down the region as a whole, because I know in Europe, China, and Korea, all the pro players are actively trying to make their region better. But I think in North America, no one is actively trying to make our server a better server. Yeah, pretty much.
I was going to ask because I know that certain teams have mandatory solo queue games, like you have to play like 10 a week or something like that or more. Do you know how many teams or players have that kind of requirement?
I know at least half the teams, from my knowledge, have that quota, but not all the teams do. Yeah.
So you'd like to see that expand to the rest of the teams?
I think it would be really nice to actively have more familiar faces, at least pro players, in solo queue.
So anyway, I know the FlyQuest YouTube channel is going to have your series going up, sort of looking into all this stuff. You guys have several episodes coming, right?
Yes.
Okay. So we
FlyQuest Sports.
FlyQuest Sports. Sorry. Yeah, thank you. FlyQuest Sports, the YouTube channel. Go check it out. But the other thing I want to talk to you about, this is your second year in a row coming and doing all this stuff. And I saw an interview with Bang that I think Ashley did where she was talking, or he was talking about just how much worse it is to be media than he expected it to be. I'm kind of curious now that this is your second year, how have you been feeling about the media job? Because everybody thinks this is so easy.
For me, it's kind of just like I try my best to have fun with whatever I do, and if I do media and I don't enjoy it, I don't think I'll be doing it.
Yeah.
So I kind of just make media in a way where I find it fun as well, and not really lock myself in positions where it's like I don't want to do this because it's not fun.
Right.
You know. So I think that's kind of maybe the difference I had between Bang, because Bang was probably trying to follow a script.
Yeah.
And I think for me, I'm kind of more like doing whatever I want, and if it doesn't work, it doesn't work.
Well, I think for him he was struggling because it's just hard, especially in group stage. Well, actually in every stage, to get interviews these days because the pro players are so focused on other stuff, and so I think that was one thing he was struggling with. But I don't know if what this experience has been like for you, like going behind the scenes and trying to get access and doing all this type of stuff.
For me, essentially because the topic I talk about is like so broad, I don't really need to talk to pro players. It's obviously nice to have a pro player opinion, but I can really just talk to anyone and essentially get a good idea of what's going on. So
Is it I guess I would ask, what is it like being behind the scenes at Worlds trying to cover it versus being on stage competing in it?
I mean, I definitely prefer competing. I think that's a given. But I think the major differences is just kind of like being a fan. Like I'm essentially a fan at this event, and you get to really see the pro players really close and get their thoughts on a lot of things. And I think that's a really nice perspective as well.
Yeah. Is it funny because I've seen you in the press conference asking questions to these players, some of which you've probably played against in the past. Is that like a weird feeling?
Definitely, it doesn't feel very normal because they're probably just like, I probably played against that guy before. What's he doing here?
Yeah. It just, and I'm sure in their mind it just cements the North America is all about entertainment thing. It's like the pro players are just attending Worlds, asking questions and making content.
I think the thing is for me is like if I start doing this thing, like let's say I start asking these players questions, it would be really nice to also like compete against him the year afterwards. So kind of working towards that now.
Well, let me check my movement watch. You guys have dinner reservations in about like 15 minutes, so. I'm going to let you go, but is there anything you want to say to any of the fans out there?
Shout out to Fly Sports, FlyQuest.
FlyQuest Sports. It's just FlyQuest. We've been informed from experts. YouTube.com/FlyQuest is where you go to find Wildturtle stuff.
Okay, shout out to FlyQuest for flying me out here to Madrid and Travis. That's it.
And Travis, that's it. Okay, either way, thank you so much for the interview. For everyone else, you can check out the rest of my coverage of all things Worlds right here on my YouTube channel.
And wait. And check out the LPL documentary.
Yeah, the LPL documentary, it's on my channel. You're about to see an outro that is literally talking about that again, but I'm just doubling up because I think it's really good, and Broden stayed up really late working on it.
I'm tripling up.
Okay. I'm quadrupling up.
Cool. All right, I'm getting out of here now.
He's getting out. Goodbye. See ya. We're still rolling. Okay. Yeah. It's over. You could cut. Hey, really appreciate you watching all my Worlds coverage, including this video. It's awesome that you were able to do that because of Alienware. That's right. You wouldn't be able to watch it. I wouldn't be able to be here if it wasn't for them. You can check out their stuff at alienware.com/Travis. There's a link in the description below. Also, the rest of our sponsors. And, by the way, please go check out our LPL documentary. I know a lot of people are not as interested in the LPL, but there's some crazy stuff happening over there that we were able to talk to people about. It should be on the screen right here. But either way, here's the first couple of seconds of it.
2017 Worlds Finals at Beijing, right? We have, I don't have the exact number, but it's 45K seats.
It's sold out in seconds.
If I go to the shops around this area, you will see just IG posters in just like random noodle shops.
There are multiple times where I'm walking down the street in Shanghai and you see a restaurant that's just showing an esports game.